Yo, what's up, everybody? If you haven't heard about Anchor, let me tell you, this is one of the easiest ways to make a podcast. First of all, it's free. Second of all, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit the podcast right from your phone or computer. Third, Anchor will also distribute for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Then you can also make money from the podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Later.
Welcome to The Lion's Den with Seth, a podcast where progressive men and women can learn and teach each other the ways of the land. The Lion's Den is where royalty comes to council. Ladies and gentlemen, your host, Seth.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Lion's Den with Seth, and I am one of your hosts, right? Seth. But anyway, before we get into it, y'all, I just want y'all to take some time and be grateful for the life that you have, okay? This year has been all the way jacked up in so many different levels. However, we have to find ways to either communicate with individuals, connect to certain things and certain people, and when to unplug. So with this being the Suicide Awareness Month, I want you guys to understand that you can talk to someone. You can call the Lion's Den. I'm not a professional. I will listen and tell you if you're crazy. However, if you do want to communicate with a social worker or a professional, I highly suggest that you contact the Suicide Prevention Hotline. Okay, that number is 1-800-273-8255. One more time, the number is 1-800-273-8255. Okay, stick around for a while. You got a lot of stuff to do in life. Okay, but we got to get it in and introduce the rest of the den. All right, Big Will, how you feeling, brother?
What's going on, team? Hey, Steph, shouts out to you, man, for coming through in the clutch yesterday while your boy got this boot on, walking all lopsided. Foot completely out of line, but I'm getting better. But, yo, what's up? Shouts out to everybody listening, and you hit the nail on the head, brother, with suicide awareness. Don't wait until you got to go to a funeral to be there for somebody that may need you. You got to be proactive and less reactive when it comes to things like that. I'm looking forward to today's show with a great friend, a great mentor. Yo, it's going to be live. It's going to be like that. Hey, stick around and make sure you share. Larry, Foots, what's going on?
That's right.
Herm, what up, though?
That's right. What's going on, Herm? What you got, brother?
Man, what's going on? It's another day.
Yo, what's up? Hey, yo, we gonna talk about this shirt or what's up? We gonna talk about this shirt?
Hold on, wait a minute. We was offline the whole time, had a conversation.
It just dawned on me. It's my fault.
You ain't said nothing about my flyness, and now all of a sudden you want to talk about my shirt.
I'm like, bruh, okay, we'll go ahead.
Hey, I look good.
You do. You do.
Hey, check it. Hey, strong shout out again to the suicide awareness, man. You never know when that kind of stuff is going to hit you, or how you going to react. I'm gonna be completely honest. I was one of those guys like, man, suicide is for the weak. How can anybody think about doing that? Until I was put in a position, I was like, damn, am I really thinking about doing this? So you never can be too strong or too tough to think that that can't happen to you. Not only that, look out for the people around you. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that they're okay, because they might not know, you know what I'm saying, that they really not okay. If you see the signs, make sure that they get the help as well. So, you know, Suicide Awareness Month, man, everybody take heed. Copy that number that Seth just put out there, and let's take care of one another. Now, not everybody can look as fly as me. You know what I'm saying? I take a lot of time to make sure I look good for everybody. I see Shamon, the fired up senior over there. He's trying though, man. I mean, I ain't got my own hat yet.
He trying.
I ain't got my own hat. Hey, so I met this cat a little while ago, probably like a year ago. You know what I'm saying? We was out on the road together, man, and I had just joined the IG team, the Inspector General team, and he was one of those guys that I can talk to, you know what I'm saying? Because there wasn't very, I'm gonna be honest, wasn't very many of people that look like me out there. And I kind of cleaned them and was talking to him, and man, it was good to have you on board there. I'm glad that we're finally able to link up and do a show together. I'm fired up. Y'all fired? I'm fired up right now. Hey, Shamon Seals, man, what's good?
I am so just excited to get a chance to see the great work that you all have been doing over this year, and I look forward to all the great things you all are going to do beyond 2020. So I'm excited to laugh and jokes and then talk about some hard issues.
Oh yeah, and that's what we go do, ladies and gentlemen. First, we want to give another shout out to you, the listeners and the viewers. I see you, Ronald. What's going on? Chief Castile, what's going on, brother? My auntie watching. Hey, auntie. Right? Hey, Mayweather watching. What's going on, Tyrone and Swanigans? How y'all feeling? Hey, but of course, before we get into the show, we have to take a minute for our sponsors. Y'all know how we do around this time. So, if you can, focus on the screen. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have credit issues, a lot of you do, you don't want to admit it. Shame yourself, okay? Tell the truth. But if you want to understand a little bit more about credit cards, your credit cards, building good credit and knowing the difference between good and bad credit, and if you want to buy a new home to start a new life, I highly suggest you to give Miss Tracy Brown a call. She is a credit guru and she can help you get your credit right on track. Okay, her number is 618-560-3687. One more time, 618-560-3687. Take your time, get your money right. Okay, and there we go. All right, fellas. It's about that time. Okay, brother. Now, of course, I'm not going to, I know we talked about it a little earlier, but I clowned it. I'm going to be 100. I clowned the fired up scene. I said, who the hell this dude think he, really? What makes you so fired? And we already got one fired up, you know, somebody. Now you fired up and now everybody else fired up. And so I guess now it's a fired up parade. But so, and I know Herm, he was wanting to talk about it too, but I think that's just the number one question on everybody's mind. What happened to Sizzling Shamon, right? Why you didn't come up with that, right? Sizzling or Shake and Bake Seals. No. All right, whatever.
Bake, because, Will Ferrell, took that when they did Talladega Nights, so...
Hey, but for real, let's talk about it, man. Because like I said offline, man, it took me a minute to become a believer. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure a lot of people that's listening feel the same way. So let's hear it from the guy himself. What made you decide, this is going to be my moniker, and what made you feel okay about doing it?
Wow, well, like I told you earlier, it's one of those things where, it's not something I spent years thinking about. I followed fired up Chief Juan Lewis, for the past couple of years, and I see the passion, enthusiasm, and the pride that he kind of pushed out there with PEP, and obviously the following he has. And so I obviously kind of flock to or gravitate towards motivation and just positivity and optimism. And I think I did a video amongst a couple other handful of videos that I have been sharing via social media last year in September this time, and one of my friends, John Terry, who's actually retired, and we were stationed in Korea together. And so when he saw my post about something I took away from Chief Wright when I was talking about being connected, communicate, and then collaborating, he tagged Chief Juan Lewis on the post. And so he said, hey man, what you think about this guy? And I'm paraphrasing in short. What you think about this guy being the fired up senior, man? He should just go ahead and do it. And then Chief Juan Lewis said, hell no. He needs to be the fired up command chief. And I'm like, oh, wait, we're getting a little too far ahead of ourselves. I don't know if I got those kind of legs, in me. And I'm just trying to make it out the rest of this year. Mm-hmm. And I think I had just sewn on seniors. So then I think he came back with a couple more posts and just said, just follow your heart, do what you think is best. And you're going to be amazed or blown away by the achievements that come, if you're doing what you think is best for you in short.
So the bottom line was he signed off on the fired up spot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, y'all heard it here, okay? So now, hey, it's a done deal. If y'all got any more problems from this day forward, you go holler at Juan Lewis, all right? Because he just said it, and that settles it, all right? Now, we didn't got that out the way. It's done. Right on? All right, Big Will, what you got, man?
Yo, what's going on, Shamon? Glad to have you on. So, working at the command level, right? As a leader, how do you balance the obligations of that position versus the obligations of your family and commitment that's been a husband and a father and an entrepreneur, business owner? Where do you get all this energy to stay fired up, brother?
Man, in short, man, just for me, I know it may sound cheesy, but man, just spiritually, my faith. That's the only thing sometimes that's really keeping me going. My family around me kind of gives me that motivation, that internal motivation. But my faith, and I grew up around the church with my dad being in the ministry. But I grew up remembering two things from the age of 10 on. My mom would say that there's nothing that you can't do if you put your mind to it. And then two, my dad used to say, nothing less than your best would achieve success. And so I always had this like piece in my head, you know, as I grew up, and it morphed into something else, obviously, and just being super, super competitive. And, you know, I would be willing to just push myself physically until I can collapse. So working at the command level and then trying to balance business, family, you know, self, I don't always do too well. And I'm still trying to figure that out, you know, so I'm not even going to lie and act like it's an exact science that I've already, you know, calculated and gotten it right. I am going through the test right now where my chief here on staff has said, hey, man, you need to take some time off. Bring your computer in, set it down, go take some time with your family. So that's hugely important because, like I said, I'm still in work in progress with that.
And, you know, and I'm glad that I'm glad you said that, because there's individuals out there that feel as though to be quote unquote fired up, you have to stay on fire all the time. But what they fail to realize is that you also need oxygen to fuel the flames, right? And part of that oxygen is taking the time out and really separating, like you said, unplugging from things. And so that's what I was going to lead up to is, what can you tell a young airman about staying fired up and staying motivated, right? Because life within itself is going to uppercut you dead square in the chin. And then what are you going to do? How do you recover? How do you bounce back? You know, so what would you tell a young airman, or just anybody that's listening right now, how to stay on that path of progression and staying fired up?
If I was to go back and tell myself as an airman, right, if I was to have that conversation in the past that says, how do you do that? And maybe some young airmen officers can take that away today, is figure out what it is that makes you happy. Genuinely just makes you happy. I failed to do that throughout my 20s and throughout my 30s, majority of my 30s, I guess like 38, 39. But I think physical fitness and exercising, having some hobbies that you really enjoy that are away from your duty title, away from your job, away from people and always having to serve, but really finding out what you like to do, what you love to do, what your passion and purpose is. I think when you figure that out, then you can better balance your purpose against the demand of the job, the goals that you have for yourself, and the goals and expectations that others have of you. So because that can be a real challenge, because like I said, life is just going to hit you all types of places with death, setbacks, you know, not being accepted, you name it. And that you have to have the mental fortitude to kind of push through those obstacles. And then the last thing I would say is surround yourself, that I didn't do, and I didn't ask questions early enough in my career. Surround yourself with the right people. Mm-hmm. Surround yourself with the right people who are already where you're trying to go, that are going to be that positive influence in your life, and are also going to hold you accountable, right? I don't need people to just tell me that I look good, feel good, smell good. Just, I want you to tell me, no crap, hey, you foolish, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to get on your game. And here's where specifically you need to do to get to where you're trying to go.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you're picking up some of these jewels, okay, as far as staying motivated. And he said something too that I really appreciate, is surrounding yourself with individuals that's going to tell you the truth. You feel me? Now, if you only want to communicate with me when I'm just telling you what you want to hear, but when I'm ready to drop that that ether and oh man, I got to go and walk my fish, I'll be back. Really? So that means that that means that our friendship is conditional. You see what I'm saying? That means that it's not a back and forth and then there's no growth in that, because if you already know so much up in here, there's no room for someone to drop certain things so you can grow. You're limiting your own self. But what you got, Herm?
Hey, Shamon, I want to go back to your chief recognized that you needed some time off. You was about to become the burnt up senior. How do you?
Wait, hold on. I like that. Hey, hashtag burnt up senior, because you don't want to burn up. You don't want to be burnt up.
So how did you take that conversation when you talked to your chief, and did you see what he saw that you needed that time off, and what did that time off do for you?
I did. It, in a sense, is really helpful. I mean, in that part, I was able to be open and vulnerable to say, hey, look, just the life and work, is not always as rosy as it seems through the screen. And so I had to tell him, say, hey, like, man, I've got business, personal, and work stuff going on, and kids, my son, my wife, the list goes on and on. So being able to tell him, like, man, it's to the end of the year, I'm mentally, physically exhausted. And he says, hey, you just need a break. And so it was tough to kind of hear, because you're like, man, well, I'm in a one deep slot. I got to be able to get to the information. But the truth is, like he said, and I've said many times to other folks, sometimes you got to take a dose of your own medicine. Like, hey, if you drop dead today, Lord forbid, and I knock on wood, because I don't wish that on anybody, but the Air Force is going to keep moving with or without you. So take some time, close your computer, and whether your email backs up to 20, 40, 100 and plus, it'll be here when you get back next week. Go spend that time with your family. Otherwise, you regret losing that time when it's all said and done.
Right. So, all right, brothers and ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, we got the fired up senior on, Mr. Shamon Seals, right? And we're about to get it in. We're about to get a little bit deeper, okay? So that was just the surface, and hopefully y'all got some stuff. And let me take a little swig of this num juice real quick, because what we're getting ready to do is talk about why are you so fired up now, not prior to. So for those out there that don't know, if you can communicate your last infamous post and where it came from, not what people think it was, but where it came from. Okay, can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So for those who may have gotten a chance to see the post that I made about a week and a half ago, I want to say precisely it was the Wednesday night that the NBA had a boycott. And it was on the back a few days on the heels of Jacob Blake being shot in the back 7 times and being hospitalized and paralyzed from the waist down. And then on top of everything that's been going on, that's been racially motivated, socially motivated, with injustices across the country, the protests, the riots, you name it, the list goes on and on. So we've been having these conversations for months, but these conversations have been happening in small pockets of America for years. And so my post was emotionally charged, and I felt some type of way. And the word choices and which I used when I said boycott, I would love to see the military boycott, and what that looked like. And then I said, how do we live underneath the tyranny of inequality? And I put thoughts and question mark. That intent was to drive a conversation that says, what does that look like? It was not in a literal sense. It was not trying to stimulate or incite folks walking off the job and saying, you know what, mutiny, we're done. I'm not listening to my commanding officers, my supervisors, the hell with my commitment to service. None of that. That was not what is intended. And some folks on the post had some questions and comments about what that looks like. And my intent in my head that wasn't communicated in the original post was in the thread that says, let's lock arms with emergency responders, police officers, lawmakers, community activists, to show a force at a national level that the military, every branch of service, locks arms and support equality for everyone, right? Because we are a reflection of our society that we have pledged to sign up and defend and fight and possibly die for. And so why not do what is at the core of who we are as America that says, hey, everyone deserves equality. And so, but I missed the target. And so for that, I need to apologize, and I owe an apology to folks who either follow that thread, for folks I don't know, because I can see how that language could have been very negatively spun, because even if the audience received it and people who knew me commented in a healthy way, there's a small group of folks that I may not know who could use it in a negative way. And some airmen, some officers, some civilian could have made this very, very bad. And for that, I apologize, because I don't want senior leaders, I don't want anyone in the force negatively reflected by the choices I actually stated on my post.
You know what? I commend you, right? And I'm sure the den, I'm speaking for the den as well, but respect that, right? And respect your angle, and just being a man enough to understand what could have been perceived as negative, but also being able to communicate your intent. But again, the unfortunate part is, no matter what, people are going to want to hear and read whatever they want to hear and read. You know, that's the unfortunate part about what we have going on. Big Herm, what you got?
So, you know, I did see that post, and I was quite shocked to see it. And to be honest, when I saw it, my initial thought was, Seals ain't doing nothing but putting the frustration of a lot of Black military members out there who probably say and think the same thing. You know what I mean? So now we got the words out there for somebody that got such a large following as yourself. You know what I'm saying? Now we think that, you know what I mean? We think, man, how powerful it would be for the military members to boycott a protest. I mean, I'm not saying, like you said, you know, walk out on your duties or whatnot. A protest could have been anything, you know what I mean? Not putting your hand over your heart, or any little small thing what a protest could be. So, and I understand you'll need to apologize and, you know, get that out there. But I guess my thing is, there's more people upset about that post that you made than what's actually going on outside those gates. You know what I'm saying? Let's speak about that, you know what I'm saying? Because something prompted you to make that post. We just witnessed a man get shot 7 times in the back. But instead of, you know, we're talking about that, we're talking about, man, this guy done try to start a mutiny. Do you kind of get that feel from the people that hit you up about that post? Like when they try to talk to you about that post, that they were more angry about that than the reason why you put that out there to begin with?
I mean, I do. I mean, I've been getting some of the negative messages from people either that are friends or possibly even just affiliates of certain platforms in which they actually follow some of the posts that's on there, and they kind of hit me up in my inbox and saying, hey man, you'll never make chief. You know, you need to lose those stripes. And that was the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. You know, you hear some hateful things that says, hey man, wait till you have to retire if you're gonna talk about racial sensitivity or issues, right? It doesn't exist. It exists in your world only, right? So there is a racial undertone. And I understand that America at large has some issues about addressing the history that has impacted at large Black and brown people. And because it's America's problem and we are that 1% in the military, sometimes we like to detach from that. As if it doesn't exist because we put on a uniform and we have a common physical connection within unity of wearing the same thread, but we have completely different experiences, diversity of thought, look different, talk different, etc. And so, yeah, there's some frustration out there that I know that for the folks that did respond, man, sometimes I really just have to ignore it because it does create an amount of stress. And I think for young airmen or big airmen in its whole, that we can communicate that frustration. We can communicate that anger, that resentment, that bitterness, but we can't lose the messaging. We really have to be careful. And that's what was the lesson learned, that I had to make sure that I go back and understand the moment, right? And the platform that we have created, not my platform, because I stand on the shoulders of giants. Right, so this is not Shamon's movement. This is not the Fired Up Seniors movement or platform. This is United States Air Force. This is the United States of America. And we all need to have some type of unison when it comes to understanding the quality for everyone. So yeah, there's some difficulty, and I know some people are going to push back and have some resistance, but I just say everyone doesn't require a response.
Good. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing, bro, because where can you go and how can you stay focused if you are essentially knocked off your balance every time somebody says something that you didn't like? You dig what I'm saying? Like a dog doesn't pay attention to every dog that bark too. You get what I'm saying? Big Will, what you get?
I will confess,
hold on.
Hey, Seth, I will confess, man, I've slipped up over the past summer, like since we've been doing some live panels and stuff like that, and people hit me up in a negative sense. There's been some times where I'm up at 11 o'clock back and forth, and they hit me up, and I'll respond. I have responded. I had to learn the hard way.
You know, you listen, look, hey, next time holler at your boy, okay? Because I think part of me that mastered that, you feel me? Because
hey, I woke my wife up. I woke my wife up and everything, man. Said, hey, turn on the lights. I invite this guy by here. I'm going to fix this right now. Like, I know I shouldn't be doing it, right? What? Yeah, because people forget, that they just can talk to you in a type of way.
Hold on. All right, now wait. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all don't know, this brother is still from Chicago. Okay, so apparently not all them stripes. He had stripes.
Buck chief.
Yeah, you did.
the knuck of you buck senior.
Right. So he was about to turn it up like Cicero. What's up?
It's the war mentality, because the same thing happens when I go down range. I didn't know it until maybe my mid-30s or whatever. Like, I had the ability to compartmentalize. And I won't have a family when I leave, right? I'm understanding that I'm prepared to die. Like, and I know it may be a foolish way of thinking, right? And there's some maturity in that, and I've gained, and I still have to grow some more, but that's the mentality that I had. It just switches. And I was like, oh, my adrenaline gets going, I get to shake.
Lord, listen, brother, hey, get a drink. Get some num juice, okay? Just a little bit.
I'm not perfect.
No, I know it ain't about being perfect, but you know what? You got to understand your buttons, right? And we talked about this before on the sanity check. Oh, shout out to the sanity check. But nevertheless, brother, different levels, you will have different devils, but sometimes different levels, you have the same devil. Because when you grow and move up, those same devils are there watching you. Now they're trying to poke at you a different way. So now when you get the shakes, that means, I got them. You get what I'm saying? And then check this out. Then you go wake up your old lady. You out of line, bro. Go ahead, Big Will. What you got? What you got, Will?
Hey, Shamon, man. We've been friends for several years. You've been a mentor and just an all-around great person. But what many people don't know about you is the emphasis and importance that you place on taking care of people, how selfless you are. So I would like for you to kind of sum up who is Shamon, not the fired up senior, but who is Shamon, so people can have a better understanding, so they won't read things so quickly out of context because they know the person is coming from, even though some people ain't gonna like the shit regardless. But who is Shamon?
Man, Shamon is just a guy that grew up loving to play sports, super competitive. I like to believe I still have a sense of humor because that's all I had when I was a kid. Just loved to laugh, joke about anything. My family would tell me that that's exactly what I do. Just laugh, jokes. When do they ever stop? He never takes anything serious. And that's a bit of who I am. But I'm also been huge on serving, whether it's just making myself available to people. I didn't know that those things were in the works of cooking and preparing then who I would be today, because it's easily been, I've easily trying to transition into an environment within the military that expects you to be connected, to desire to take care of people. And so it becomes a little bit easier. It's not though as if it's not a challenge, but it does kind of hit at the core of who I am. I just love to be connected to people. Just like we're teleworking right now, I struggle, right? Being disconnected from people, right? And I know that my fulfillment is people. And so if I had to work in a teleworking environment for the next couple of years, I don't know if I can do this thing, because that's just not where my energy and my passion as a person is in terms of taking care of people. So that's who Shamon is. Just loves to be into sports and all that kind of stuff, and just easygoing, laid back kind of guy.
All right. Sounds good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here talking to the fired up senior from what side of Chicago? South or west? South side. Lord have mercy. Hey, if y'all don't know nothing about the South side of Chicago, how about y'all Google it and see how it really get. But
shout out to High Park High School.
High Park, look at him. Look. Hey, so listen, before we go after these messages, we're going to give out the number because there's individuals that want to call, ask questions and everything. So before we get to that part, of course, we got to get it in with our sponsors, right? So, those of you that are interested in getting a home, all right, getting a home in the San Antonio area, or getting rid of your home in San Antonio, or you just need some help finding a home, I highly suggest you give Monique Slater a call. Ladies and gentlemen, she's a retired chief, and she knows people and she knows her job to the point that her and her team can help you get a home in 6 hours. Okay, that's magical. That's magical. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give her a call. Her number is 210-237-7268. One more time, 210-237-7268. Monique Slater. Okay, the name you can trust. And of course, you know we got to get it in with Kevlar's Grill. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevlar's Grill is located outside of the Scott Air Force Base Gate, inside of the VFW, post 4183. They have all the food that you can imagine, and they have great chicken to ribs to vegetables and all of that. And they also cater, and Grubhub, and 25 miles in the radius, right? 25 miles with military discount. So you can't beat that, all right? Give Kevlar's a call. As a matter of fact, you're probably hungry right now. So if you're too lazy and don't want to barbecue, they're doing it for you right now. The number is 618-416-5700. One more time, 618-416-5700. Call now. Tell them Scooby sent you.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. The Lion's Den podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.
Hey, so we got a question from Lily Wilson in the chat that's watching right now. And she asked, do you think that there's enough focus given to the issues from the Air Force or the military as a whole, that maybe if there was more focus on that type stuff, you wouldn't have to have made that kind of post?
That's a good question.
I do think that the Air Force is making a concerted effort. Now, to the question as to whether it's enough, possibly not. But I think the expectations in terms of expectation management from the time that this has kind of really spurred and picked up some traction since early summer, I think we're well on our way. I think the jury is still out on that verdict, but we are the jurors, right? So if there is going to be an impact on doing enough, it's going to be the reflection of which we have either spoken or demanded action on to improve those things. I know people are doing a lot of great things within diversity and inclusion at the wings, at HAF, and even at the MAJCOM levels, and around the Department of Defense. So yes, there's some slow progress, but we have a lot more to do over the long term, because this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a call in from Nick Jackson, one of the twins. Nick, you there?
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me, man?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, everybody can hear you. Go ahead. You live, brother, on the Den. How you feeling?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I think this is an important topic to bring up. And I know the Fired Up Senior talked about diversity and inclusion, but I want to take a step back a little bit. I appreciate him apologizing, but when are we going to get to a point to where we've been apologizing for so long that it's just too much, you know? And for those who don't know, I work in the diversity and inclusion office here at Luke Air Force Base. And I've shared many of stories of how, you know, myself as an African American, this uniform doesn't save me once I walk out the gate. So when do we have to keep apologizing in order to fit in or get recognized for the things that we're going through? And it's so much. And I'm going to say it on here. It's disgusting to me that, number one, I support all lives matter, Black lives matter, blue lives matter, LGBTQ, and everything. But it's just sad to me that when we're recognizing these individuals or I'll use the LGBTQ for example, the comments that are made. And when will we get to a point to where we can start educating folks? Because again, we have people that show up to these meetings, but the ones who really need to be there, they're running away from it.
You know what? Hey,
So,
that's a good question, Nick. That's a good question. And if you don't mind, man, I would love for not just the Fired Up Senior, but the rest of the den to give y'all 2 cents on that. Okay. Hey, oh, wait, hold on. Hopefully I didn't cut you off. Was that everything, Nick?
oh, that's it, man. I don't want to get on no crazy story.
No, it's okay. It's okay, because guess what? I'm going to help you on out. But thanks for calling. Right on. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, check it out. This is Scoob's opinion. All right. And this is just me. This is not I'm not speaking on behalf of any senior NCOs or Air Force or anything. This is my own opinion. We need to know who is in the audience and what we want them to know. You understand? So I don't want us, but I can only hold myself accountable, right? I don't want to exhaust so much energy to try to convince someone how great I am or we are, because some people, no matter what you do, it's not the fact that you're doing it. They don't like the fact that, they like what you do, but they don't like the fact that it's you doing it. So we can lose our own resource as far as our God gift and our energy trying to pour into a fool that does not want to absorb what you have to offer. So we have to hold ourselves accountable and make sure we're talking to the right people. You feel me? And those right people are the ones that can be an advocate for change, not to defend my feelings or try to debunk our history. You did what I'm saying? Will, what you think about that?
So you hit the nail on the head, brother. It's going to be some people that you're going to experience that just won't care. And there's nothing that you can do to influence their ability to care. But that's when you have to stop doing that. I think what Nick was alluding to with certain individuals that are in position of authority that can impact your progression, your growth, is where you have the problem, because you have a wolf in sheep's clothing in your direct chain, whether you're in a business setting or a military setting. And you have to be so apologetic for being your natural self when other people are allowed to be them. That's an issue that I don't think gets discussed enough, where we're forced to have to apologize and put on that mask. If you're a person of color, you understand what I mean by you have to put on a mask to be somebody else because people are not comfortable with you. Because I'll take some personally. I'm a big black guy. I get told that I'm aggressive. People are threatened by me because I'm direct and I don't take no bullshit. But that's wrong. I can't do that. But you can watch somebody else do the same thing and worse, and it'd be cool. Oh, that's just how Jan is. Or that's how Dan is. But I got to be somebody else when I'm at work because I'm passionate, right? So, in all honesty, I think these are a lot of topics that don't get enough attention that we need to put more emphasis on. And shouts out to Ms. Dorsey on diversity and inclusion at Scott Air Force Base and the whole team. We're going to do some good work.
All right.
That's all I got.
Okay. Hey, Herm, what you think?
As far as what Nick said, man, about apologizing, I mean, I face the same thing that we'll talk about. Like, people look at me and see my demeanor and think a certain way about me just by looking at me. But more so, I see this with black women in the military. You know, they always get read wrong. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's their face or their tone, they can't voice an opinion without being a bitch or whatever they want to call them. You know what I'm saying? When I'm working with black females, like, it's like those are some of the most hardest working people that I ever worked with. I've had the best experience working with black women. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's subordinate or, you know, or they leading me. But I always see it. They always got to apologize for themselves for just being them. You know what I mean? Nobody ever wants to put that out there, but it's like, man, like, what Nick was saying about apologizing, I think that more so goes to, I mean, I have my issues just like what Will just talked about, but it's like almost universal for black women in the military.
I think you're right. I think you are absolutely right, man. 'Cause I've been there to witness it, and it's hard too, especially when we feel like I don't even have enough juice to help her. You get what I'm saying? Because in real talk, it's like, how can I help her out? And I'm trying to, yeah, you were absolutely right. Shamon, what you think, brother? To Nick's point.
Well, I think, and the question Nick was saying was a great question, because I think he's talking about, being tired of having to apologize. And when are we going to stop having the need to apologize? So there's a difference. And here's where I want to clarify at least my apology, which says I don't apologize for the emotions that I felt. I don't apologize for the feelings that I have because of the environment I come from, my experiences that I have. I'm never going to apologize for that to anyone. What I was apologizing for and to who is different, which means that I'm speaking to the folks who are either influenced by me and understand that I have a huge responsibility and I owe it to them, just like other folks who have paid it forward to me and us here, that we have such a platform. And I have to make sure that, and just as many other senior leaders and officers and NCOs, we have to make sure that we protect that platform. And so I was apologizing to those folks because it is their voices into the future that we have to be really responsible for in our word usage, because it impacts people differently, which then changes your influence. And if you don't have that influence, you can't bring about the change you want.
Right.
So I have to be a little bit more diligent in that. We have to do that as well. And I need to be a better steward and an example of that. And I need your help, Nick, and because I know you can do it. Right. And you and your brother, Nate. So I'm gonna sit up here and say, man, like, it's just the nature of the beast. I'm not saying, hey, be apologetic for how you feel, the pain that you're carrying. You don't have to apologize for that, brother. Don't ever do that.
So now that brings me to the next point. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have heard or not, there has been some new guidance that's come down in line with the diversity inclusion and having conversations about it within the DoD federal, right? And having training, diversity inclusion training based off of the tone, if you will, from how things are being articulated to the set audience. So Shamon, you've heard of this, correct? All right. Now, what are your thoughts about that?
Simple. It's just those three things that I was talking about at the very beginning that Chief Wright mentioned at AFSAPAC in 2019, where he talks about communicate, collaborate, and connect. If you have an ability to communicate, right, despite what they're trying to take away, to minimize, to limit, to silence our voices, that gets after bringing us closer together, don't get flustered, right? Don't get distracted by the smoke screen, because I don't care what elected official that's creating that tone, right? That we are the tone. So if you have a passion to bring about this change, turn the volume up a little bit, speak a little bit louder, speak a little bit more eloquently, do your research, do your homework, collaborate with people and connect our efforts so that we're not duplicating them across the force at large. So our voices can ring a little bit louder. So, but yeah, that it is a little disappointing, to be honest, right? Just as a human being, like, really? Like, what? How does this bullcrap happen? It is what it is. We don't control those type of situations. So that's what I would respond to, says, hey, just keep getting involved, speak a little bit louder, be deliberate about your efforts, and bring about that positive change that you want to see at your levels that you can impact change.
Now, what I would say is, it's not necessarily, and I know you don't mean it in this way, but not being loud, but being strategic.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because I believe for us, just naturally, African Americans, we are emotional individuals, right? We got soul. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, listen, we can make up a dance one day. You gonna see it on Nickelodeon the next. You feel me? So we got some influence, right on. But when it comes down to injustice, when it comes down to us seeing each other, other people, or our family hurt, we are more loud, right? Because we want you to hear us. However, sometimes our delivery can be misconstrued to what Will was saying earlier as aggressive, but it's, damn, I'm mad. What else do I have to say? What else do I have to do? Like, damn, did you see the same thing I saw? You feel me? So I don't believe it's necessarily the loudness. It's about how do you say what you need to say that's going to invoke change, not get an emotional reaction, because we don't need you to feel bad, right? What is your tears gonna do for our systemic change that we want to see? What are your tears gonna? Oh, you know, that's so bad. Oh, you feel me? So if you're doing it just for that, your intentions aren't kind of put together right, if you understand what I'm saying, especially if you have a platform. Here we got over like 5,000 individuals that can watch this at any given time. It matters. What you say and your call to action matters versus, hey, I'm about to get on this platform and say, listen, y'all the reason why we can't get reparations because you really, what are you doing? You get what I'm saying? Not Herm, Will, what you gonna say, bro?
I think we have a responsibility, and I think that this discussion needs to go deeper, and it needs to have a targeted action. Because you can talk about your feelings all day, but if you don't have resolution, it's going to be a cycle that repeats itself. So, as Shamon alluded to, is having an educational discussion where you do your research and come with something that's going to be beneficial, and not just around here talking shit and mad. And you have to, somewhere along those lines, you have to hold yourself accountable. Because you can't keep pointing the finger at someone else if you out of line yourself. So I say that there's a lot of stuff that's going on, but you can't tackle everything at once. You got to pick a target. You can't aim at Russia. You need to lower your target and be able to fix your home first. Then go abroad. Because I think so many people on so many different pages, you're not going to have progression that way. I think they were saying, we've talked about it offline and here on the show today, that you have to collaborate. Come up with a game plan, being strategic to see what are we trying to get after here. So I think we are definitely making traction from an Air Force perspective. This is, from my career in 19 years, this is the most I've seen the things that we go through be addressed and identified. But the now what is what we're looking at now, what's coming next.
You know, and Shamon, I want to ask you this too, man, before we go to the next sponsor, but I want you to think about this. What do you see as being the next step? All right, in your position, because let's keep in mind and let's be honest, this uniform is going to come off, right? It's either you take it off or somebody go take that shit off for you. You feel me? So, but that's the inevitability of the military. So just think about that and we're going to come back. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening right now, put what base you're at right now or that you represent, hashtag my base is, all right? Or hashtag Scott Air Force Base, one of the best bases in the world. Right on, because we here. But hold on. Somebody call. Yes. Hello.
Hey, sir.
Yes. Hey, you live on the Lions Den. Who's calling?
Hey, this is Victor Savage.
Oh, Savage. What's going on, brother? You calling from Philippines. What's going on?
Hey, not too much. Just checking you out. I'm hoping I'm looking at the live version of you guys.
Yes, you on right now. You on right now, brother. What you got?
I'm just talking about basically, you know, when one of the guys was talking about action, you know, a lot of people would sit and talk and they take away our rights and et cetera. One of the things I'm looking at is that we have to stop talking. We have to stop asking for permission. We have to stop saying, you know, we can't be who we want to be because we have to wear that mask. The only way that we can make change is basically changing the law. That means the policies, the laws in government. And, you know, by doing that, it requires the education. And you have to get the education to come up there to be able to take action in your community. And that's one of the things I'm looking at is every community has to have a person that's going to be educated enough to be doing community service. And the community service and getting into your mayors, your assemblymen, your councilmen, up to senator, et cetera, to go in and change the laws. Now, it's happening a little bit more than it used to be, but that's the only way, because people that don't care will not care. They will not change. You know, it's almost until you get a civil war for
other non-colored or non-people of color, they look at it as if a lot of things don't change until, and I hate to say this, but until there's confrontation. People are going to say, okay, everything's okay. When Kaepernick kneeled, it's like, okay, well, you need to find another way to protest. As always, you need to find another way. Okay, two ways is either violence or you change the law. Okay, because that's the only time you get people's attention. When you go in and you try to change something, then they have your attention. When you go in and you confront them, you have their attention. Anytime we sit back and say, okay, well, we're going to wait, et cetera, it's not going to happen. So that's just my 2 cents.
You know what? Hey, thanks, Vic, man. Thank you for calling in, brother. And thank you for that. And yes, that makes a lot of sense. And also, ladies and gentlemen, too, just because you are a person of color does not mean you are the right POC to be the advocate for diversity and inclusion. Right on. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But we will be talking about our next sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, our next sponsor. Okay, let me get it here. Boom. Okay, so if you're looking to open a practice or you need your existing staff trained within the revenue cycle, right? They will train. Now, this company right here will train your team as a group and or individuals and your staff members to bring their practice up to receive maximum reimbursement. All right. So this is the Physicians Management Services. They can help you out to gain those skills that you need to work in the medical field. Give Yvonne a call. Her number is 618-825-8173. And it's all virtual, ladies and gentlemen. It's all virtual. So if you're hearing my voice, you can be trained. Okay, so make sure you give her a call. The number one more time is 618-825-8173. And of course, we talk about making sure your credit is right and you want to be, have that financial leverage. This is a way to get training and then you don't owe student loans. Don't forget about that. All right, so give her a call. All right, Shamon, bro, I know you had a lot to think on at that time, but what's your thoughts, brother? What's next? What's next, brother? What should we do next?
Absolutely. So Vic just mentioned some of those things that I alluded to earlier as to how do we move from conversation to action. And obviously that looks like a dissertation, right? There's a lot of action that needs to be taken, but some of the immediate ones, like I said, in your local areas is becoming educated with education reform, policy for policing, and figuring out who those POCs are in your community and when they meet and what does that process look like. I'll tell you that I am guilty. I'll be the first one that leads the charge that says, hey, I haven't been active in that arena, right? Because me belonging to the military, and living in that kind of a bubble, if you will, of a comfortable life, sometimes those things that are not pressing and in your visual immediate space, you tend to ignore. But now that we can no longer ignore that, and it is individually our responsibilities, you have to get in there and figure out what we can do to kind of help impact change by, voicing your opinions, your thoughts, maybe be like somebody possibly stated it earlier, get involved by running for office locally. When you hang up the uniform and it's time, like, what do you stop doing? What do you start doing? So I think there's a number of things that we can do, but it really is, are we leveraging our network, our resources, and our experience to the area of which that we can bring about the change, even at the small levels? Because it's a gradual piece. And sometimes you just can't swing for the fence. But like I said, as long as we just continue swinging and never, we commit to never putting the bat down, we'll be all right. Because I do like where we're going already with some of the changes in terms of like Air Force policy that we're changing within the 362903. That's becoming a little bit more inclusive. There are some discussions that I've been a part of and many other senior leaders across the force that are getting after, folks with shaving waivers and hair color and tone. So those things are happening, but locally, the things that impact our communities of Black and brown people, that provides financial equality, housing opportunities, jobs, schooled in the education reform for history in terms of what's being taught in the schools, I should have a say in that if I'm paying taxes.
You're absolutely right. Hey, so listen, we got a special caller in. Oh, hold on, brother. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Shamon, I got your daddy on. Yeah, boy, you're in trouble. Go ahead, bro. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we got Mr. Shamon Seals in the building. All right. Yeah, yo, the fired up daddy. What you got, brother?
Yeah, I'm a fired up senior citizen, that's for sure.
Fired up senior citizen. I'm gonna take that.
Yeah, that's the logo, fired up. And God has blessed each of you. And I have to start with that because I'm old enough to know that if this was 20 years ago, this conversation, and you guys been in the position having experiences, so you're standing on the shoulders of other men and women who've paid a price. And I love all the comments that have been shared. And one of the most important things you have to remember is not you. It's about what God has positioned you to do. Years ago, we would call black folks Uncle Tom because they had a spot in the White House or they had a spot on the plantation. But if it hadn't been for some of those brothers and sisters that make those sacrifices, we wouldn't know the sacrifices. We wouldn't have accomplished what you accomplished. For the African-American brother, I can't think of his name, who's now the chief of the Air Force in the Pentagon.
Oh, Chief Wright.
He had to learn. What's his name?
Chief Wright. Chief Khalif Wright. Yeah. So he just stepped down. So there's a lady now, right? Chief Bass. Right now,
well, it's a brother that just stepped up that got over all the military.
Oh, is he talking about Brown? General Brown. Okay, got you.
So when you think about those brothers and those sisters who are at that level and what they've had to go through to get there, it is their sacrifices that you must learn from, especially if they're all honorable, and I believe they are, to get to a place where my son is. Shamon, congratulations. When you started off with Fired Up Senior, I said to you, you don't know where this will take you, but always remember who you represent, and it's bigger than you. And to each of you men, it's bigger than you because what you're doing is being heard even when you know that you don't realize how many people are really listening to you. But one thing is for sure that lets you know when you get some feedback that rattles your cage, then you know more people are listening to you than you've ever could have realized. That's when you know it's not just by happenstance, that you've been placed in positions to put yourself secondary to the position of responsibility that you have, as I said to Shamon and to my sons, Anton, and all the rest of them, Aaron and Tally, the sons, and James, and the rest of them, is the responsibility of the sons to stand up and be accountable because of other people that you represent that don't even look like you.
Wow.
Because truth of the matter, brothers, when civil rights took place, when I was 13, that bill was written. A whole lot of people got free. Right now, America's in a fight for its democracy. And I believe we'll win. But it's going to take you, brothers, to continue to be wise. Because it's never about your ego. It's so much bigger that God has positioned you where you are right now with the power that you're exercising, with the intelligence that you're delivering, the emotions, the passion. It is the fire of God that they cannot shut off because it's sincerity of your heart. It's a spirit movement right now. And as long as you continue doing what you know is right and you do it with the wisdom of God, He will establish what He sent you to do. And that's what I hear in this conversation. And that's where you represent so much hope. You guys are the new remnant of the new leaders for the next 20 years. in the Air Force and out of the Air Force, wherever you go, you shall always represent the integrity of men who stand up for what's right.
Wow.
And women too.
Yes.
So I just want to compliment you, encourage you. As I said to my son Shamon, you have to be wise and ask God for wisdom. He'll give it to you liberally. And he'll give you wisdom and creativity, brothers, to take you. And I know that they're listening. I know that they're listening right now. I hope they hear your heart. I hope they hear the heart of this man who will be 70 years old to tell the world that I didn't raise no fools. I didn't raise no Antarcticus or whatever that word is. But I raised my sons and my daughters to be proud of who they are as people and to respect other people, because you never know, if it had not been for God, there go I. Wow. And God has kept you, and he's positioned each one of you on this lion den, that you can sleep in the lion's den, and he can't eat you.
Dang, hold on, wait, hold on, brother, hold on. Listen, let me take a pause, because
you have to ask why I'm fired up.
Hold on, wait. Brother, listen, look, you're doing it, and I want to thank you, man. I didn't think I needed to hear that.
Let me make this,
yeah.
The last point, the lion's den. And remember this, and don't ever be ashamed of the fact that you are a lion and a lamb. Jesus was both the lion and the lamb of God. He gave of himself. But he had all power. And he was the Lion of Judah. The Lion of Judah is that he praises God, and he is God. And he gave you a spirit to stand up and to praise the maker who created you.
Wow.
To be in the lion's den, brother, to do what you guys are doing right now takes courage. It also takes godly wisdom. So you're not on here just cussing folks out and condemning the government. You got to be at the table. And for the government that's listening to you, God said,
whoa, hold on. Wait a minute.
Position them.
Hold on, yo. He on
One
here.
collection plate.
Oh, brother.
Position. God is positioning men and women. Kamala Harris has been positioned in the midst of this pandemic. God is showing his hand to a world that has turned its back, but God is still positioning you men of God and these women of God who I've been hearing on my son's broadcast and other broadcasts, and the military people with sensitivity of heart who know God. God will, you cannot, and God will never let darkness consume the light that he put in you.
You're right.
As long as you keep him first. God bless you.
Thank you, brother.
I love you.
Thank you, brother.
I love you, son. Fired up, Senior. I couldn't ask you and your brothers and your stepbrothers, sisters to honor me more than all of you do. But with the love of how you carry yourself.
That's solid. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Wow. Hey man, hold on, man.
Hold on, bro.
That's your dad?
Yo,
I felt like I was Simba listening to Mufasa.
I know, bro. I was sitting there like, hold on. You know what?
I didn't pick up my drink, dude.
Yo, I almost didn't want to. And then I'm like, damn, I am. We are lions. Wait, we in the den too? Wait a minute. I ain't go to church. Bedside Baptist. Just got it. That brother was preaching. And he spoke in tongues. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time ever, but that was some real talk, man. Shout out to your pops, man. Hey, the fired up senior citizen, y'all. That's what he called himself. Right, he went it in. He got it in. Hey, but look, Shamon, though, man. I want to give you the last word. Well, no, before I do, I want to go around to my boys. You right? I want them to give their thoughts, on where we're at and where to go. Where we can go, right, together as the den and even as individuals, You know what I'm talking about? And what we gain from this show. And shout out to everybody that's watching right now and that went to church. Listen, you go to our PayPal, right? $LionsCast, if you know, collecting that plate. You feel me? For that good word. But Big Will, what you got, man? What's your word?
Hey, first off, man, congratulations to you on your retirement self, brother. You have been an anchor to so many people, and you continue to do so, brother. God got great things ahead for you. Up next for the Suicide Awareness Month, never hesitate to reach out when you need somebody. Don't be too strong, because only thing that can happen to you is you end up there by yourself and you don't have to be. Other than that, Shamon, pleasure having you on the show, brother. Great to hear all the wisdom from your daddy, man. I ain't drank no more of my beer, man, since he got on. I would have felt like I was going to get in trouble. But shouts out to everybody listening, man. Great show, but keep pushing, keep fighting. But bottom line, keep doing what's right. You being emotional, ain't nothing wrong with it. I leave with emotion all the time, but it's thoughtful and it shows I give a damn. That keeps me fired up. So get fired up yourself, but just remember that you're an advocate for somebody else and somebody else watching you, and it's not just about you. You have a responsibility. Make sure you do his due diligence.
Right on. Herm, what you got, brother?
Hey, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for a great show today. I definitely got something out of it, and I reiterate what Will's talking about, your retirement. You know what I'm saying? You official now, dog. You know what I mean? So congratulations to you. Hey, Shamon, when you talk to your father, man, please pass on my thanks to him. Because it really did put in perspective how far we've came as a people. Sometimes I think we'll lose sight of that. You know what I mean? We'll just see the struggles that we have right here in front of us and not think about what happened yesterday. You know what I mean? And he really honed that in for me. And I could see where you get you from, man. Because that man, that short conversation we had, I know he's an amazing person. I want to thank you personally for coming on the show and proving a lot of people wrong about you, thinking that maybe, I'm going to throw it out there, that maybe you was a gimmick. You know what I mean? That, this dude is just doing this for show. You know what I mean? You a genuine guy. You know what I mean? You're not afraid to come face, you know what I'm saying, the questions that's going to be asked of you. And not only that, man, your actions behind your words show that you a real guy. You know what I mean? So I want to thank you, and hey, fired up senior, you know what I mean? All the way, man. I'm going to stay fired up. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Woo, man, oh man. Now, my goodness. Yo, Shamon. Hey, how you feel? Wait, first of all, how you feel being in the den for real, for real? I mean, we in the den. How you feeling right now, brother?
At home. At home. That atmosphere that he was speaking about in terms of being in the lion's den is where we come from. That heat, that pressure, that uncomfortable edging of creating stone, a blade sharpness, that is what most of our lives have been like. Unfortunately, many folks haven't got a chance to witness that. Just like a professional athlete who goes and performs in shock and awe, you don't get a chance to see the behind the scenes work that goes into being them. And I'm a man just like you. But man, it's a humbling experience, man. A little bit of shocking, like, man, did he really call? But like I said, it's fitting. And he's old and deserved and earned his opportunity to have that space and time carved out for him, because he's done so much that I've looked up to and I've admired as a dad, right? Because he had to be that voice in our community back home in Chicago, doing so much where I just like, man, you Seals boy, I wanted to create that legacy for my own children. And hopefully I can inspire other men, other women to do the same for their kids in their community.
Right on. So what's your final word, man? If there's anything that you want an airman to know, and we're talking about Big A, regardless of what they look like, but those individuals that's wearing a uniform, any uniform, right? Because even though we are in all of the armed forces, we have to be honest and understand there are different shades of blue. You feel me? There are much different shades of blue. There's different shades of green. There's different shades of all of the armed forces, right? But what would you say to the individuals that are in right now that's serving?
Wow. What I would say to the 2035, 2040, 2050 airmen, if they're already out there getting it, understand the commitment that you made. And if you don't, and it takes a while, stay just long enough to realize the commitment that you made and honor it. Not the commitment just to the United States Air Force, the United States, but the commitment to the family that you made a sacrifice to go in front of. The commitment to your local community, to your countrymen, to your brothers and sisters. You said, hey, I'll go and support and defend the United States and the Constitution, and I'll follow the orders of the leaders that's appointed over me. Understand that commitment. Do everything you can with where you are just to be working towards being better every day. Don't worry about promotion. Don't worry about duty title. Just do your best at where you are and be okay and enjoy the moments as they begin to snowball so that when the career is over, you have something to look back on that you really enjoy and you're proud of. The other thing that I would leave for the audience is four things, which is what hip hop is kind of founded off of back in 1972, 73-ish, around Funkmaster Flash and
Cool Herc, bruh. Man, listen. You talk about music to a DJ. Don't mess it up.
So he talked about the essence. When he talked about four things, there was love, peace, unity, and joy. Mm-hmm. So, and if you operate in love, right, which kind of just talks us as being a human being, you'll be able to relate and connect. And because of that, it brings out a sense of joy that becomes magnetic, that you can't turn down. It's that spirit, that aura that is in each of us when we're at our best. And then, of course, that love and that joy that begins to evolve and become magnetic, right, it turns into unity. And that's what we're after right now, is unity of all colors, creeds, language, diversity of thought, whatever it is, unity. And when you have those three things in place, you have no other choice. No other choice. What's the last one? What's the last one? It keeps peace. And that's what we're after. Peace of mind, peace of spirit, and fulfillment. And so I just want to leave a quick shout out to some folks, if that's okay, Seth?
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. What you got?
I just want to get, because some folks did some things for me. When you talk about why I fired up, obviously you got a chance to chat my dad, my family. Mm-hmm. My wife and kids have been a cornerstone for me throughout my career because I haven't gotten it right. I'm a man. I'm human, right? I bleed. I eat. I sleep. I make many mistakes. I probably make some more. Hopefully I can reduce the amount of mistakes I make. But I want to make sure that I give some love to the folks. Chief Master Sergeant Foster, Chief Master Sergeant Patrick Jones, who's retired, Chief Master Sergeant David Deloney, and retired Chief Pamela Dorsey here at Scott. But I also want to give a host a shout out and love to Chief Vaden, Chief Bogdan, Chief Ballard Blunston, Chief B. And then we have a whole host of folks who have been doing some great things within the Total Force panels and Limited's production. I have an outstanding team that's been working with me, which is Tech Sergeant Smiley and Staff Sergeant Johnson. We have Senior Airman Ruth Thomas, be safe over there in PSAB. And then we also have Senior Airman Cruz right here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So there's so many folks out there like Chief Castile who gave me a call, and so many people just called and prayed with me, just hoping that I can get it right and holding me accountable and say, hey, man, we got to do better. So I just want to say thank you to those folks, and thank you to all the folks that have supported the Lions Den. And then finally, without further ado, man, thank you all for having me on. Seth, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for the great work that you all are doing by bringing so many women and so many men to influence our broader audience. And I salute your efforts, and I look forward to your continued success.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the fired up senior, right, and the fired up senior citizen had a chance to bless us. So I want to thank all of you all for joining in and tuning in to the Lions Den. But before we go, I do want to make sure you guys do understand and know about the sanity check. Okay, you can catch the sanity check on Saturdays now at 9 o'clock Central. All right, and 10 o'clock Eastern, because it's too early. People was complaining, I want to hear it, but I want to hear I ain't up. That's your fault. But nevertheless, we're going to do it. So you go to Facebook /@Sanity Check, but with 2 K's and the S. Okay, checks, because it's more than one. You got some other things to do, but don't forget about the hotline, the suicide hotline. The number is 1-800-273 1-800-273-8255. One more time, it's 1-800-273-8255. Talk to someone. Stick around for a while. And also thank you all for the retirement congratulations. And I really didn't put it out there like that because for some unfortunate reason, people think that, you know, when you retired that you're tired. No, I'm just getting started for real. I just took off one uniform and put on a new one. You dig? So don't worry about me being retired because y'all still going to see me. And when you see me in certain places, make sure you vote. Dig? But anyway, we want to thank y'all for tuning in and make sure you follow, share. Shout out to everybody. To Dan, you know we love you. And we're going to holler at y'all on the flip flop. Wait, hold on. Wait, one more minute. Shamon got something else. Go ahead, brother. What you got?
I just want to plug a book for suicide awareness. And I know the holiday season is quickly approaching us and mental health awareness back in May. So if you are having issues and you dealt with a lot of stuff during COVID and being at home and just readjusting, right, go get help. I'm going to get help soon, right? And so I wanted to say, if I can do it, then you can do it. I know it's tough sometimes, but just be bold enough to do it. My cousin has actually produced a small book of the tragedy that she's gone through by losing her mom, her sister, and her brother within a year and a half. It's a very short read. Tanisa Murkison, I'll post it in the threads that shares, right? If you are dealing with something like that or even remotely close to it, please consider tapping into it because we can be each other's fuel to kind of get through those things that happen within life.
Hey, hold the book up, brother. I couldn't see it.
Absolutely.
All right, get over. Okay, get over. You're not the only one. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's dope.
So shout out to her and those folks who are dealing with those things because I know folks have lost some loved ones to COVID, just to old age and just, you know, natural causes. And it's been tough for a lot of folks working in this environment. And that's just maybe one of the many tools that's out there. So
absolutely.
I just want to share that good nugget. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, shout out if you can. But again, enjoy the rest of your Labor Day weekend. Chill out, hug somebody, cover your face up, right? And wash your hands. We'll holler at y'all.
Nothing wrong with my shirt.
Everything is wrong. Everything is wrong with your shirt, bro. Later.
Let's go.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. Make sure to listen to the show on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, and Radio Public, where you can subscribe or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you like or dislike this episode, we'd appreciate your feedback on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Lionscast. Check out the book, The Black Collar Mindset, The Art of Strategic Thinking on Amazon or www.theblackcollarmindset.com, a manual to maneuver through life strategically by holding yourself accountable. Tune in next week for another episode of The Lion's Den with Seth.